Bonsoir à tous. Merci d'être là. On est très heureux de vous avoir. C'est exceptionnel qu'ils soient là tous les deux depuis 15 ans. C'est la première fois que vous êtes tous les deux en Europe, en tout cas. Pourquoi est-ce que c'est aussi rare de vous voir ensemble, Melinda?
Well, because we do travel a lot together personally and with our kids, but we can get so much more done around the world if we actually split up in terms of foundation business. So often, you know, Bill might be in one place and I might, you know, in Europe and I might be in Africa. Or this week he's actually been in Europe most of the week and I've been in DC right before this. So we can get twice as much work done if we're actually separate.
Alors, si vous êtes aujourd'hui ensemble ici, c'est parce que vous sortez de l'Élysée où le président de la République vous a fait l'un et l'autre commandeur de la Légion d'honneur. Vous êtes également, Melinda, à la une de Time, parmi les 100 personnalités les plus influentes du monde. Bill, est-ce que vous êtes fier de votre femme?
Oh, very. No, it's fun. It's fun to do the work together, and she brings her own passion, particularly for women and girls' issues, that has really helped our work make a difference.
Lequel de vous deux est le plus solidaire?
I would say both. We absolutely both believe in solidarity. I mean, the whole business of the foundation is about how do you bring everybody in from the margins and how do you make sure everybody can live a healthy and prosperous life. That's the whole mission of the foundation. We both live that out.
Alors, lequel de vous deux a amené l'autre à cette solidarité?
Well, we've gotten to solidarity with each other.
That worked out first for the marriage.
And, you know, then we, even before we were married, we talked a lot about how we would take the resources that came from the incredible success of Microsoft, how we would give them back, how we could have the most impact. And in fact, one of our key trips to Africa was before we got married, and seeing the, you know, stark limitations in terms of the health systems and the poverty and the lack of food that was there in Africa. That was an inspiration that made us go and learn about those needs.
One of the most fun things for me was when we first started the foundation, we really did start it with the belief that the mission is all lives have equal value, no matter where they're lived on the planet. And early on, I was getting to travel a little bit more for the foundation because Bill was still the CEO of Microsoft. But the great thing was I would be on the ground in these countries learning from so many villagers or in slums, and I would come back, and the person I most wanted to talk to about what I was seeing was Bill. And he was always not only an intent listener, he would take what I would come back and see, and then he could lift up to the World Development Report and say, well, what should we do about this? And so for us, solidarity is that we come at these issues both from different angles sometimes, but we always meet in the middle and figure out then what next? What action should we take on behalf of the people that we're trying to serve around the world?
Je vais être solidaire avec vous. Vous avez la traduction ou pas? Ah, ok, tout le monde a la traduction, super. Très bien. Est-ce que la solidarité, ça vient de l'éducation?
Go ahead.
Well, the natural instinct is, of course, to take care of yourself and then your family and then your clan. And as the world gets richer and richer, this opportunity to not just think narrowly about just your family or your clan or your tribe, but to think about all of humanity, even going beyond just the individual country. I think that as the world's become wealthier, the idea that everybody ought to have access to these vaccines, that, you know, we know enough about nutrition that no kid should suffer by not having enough food and therefore not developing physically and mentally. And, you know, so in the hundreds of years ago when everything was in such short supply, this idea of thinking of everyone, you know, probably wasn't a common thing. Today, the world can afford to take care of all the children. We still don't, but we're making progress to do that.
And I think we both benefited from our families and our own education in a way that I went to school whose motto was serviam, that is to serve. And I was out working in the community, and I learned that one person could make a difference. Bill's family, he grew up in a family where his parents were serving in the community on incredible positions on boards, in addition to the job his dad had. And so I think that notion that we had something to give back came early, and that is something we're trying to also inculcate in our own children as well.
Alors justement, vos enfants, on le sait, hein, vous avez dit qu'ils n'hériteraient pas, et ils sont donc solidaires de fait à cause ou grâce ou avec vous, évidemment. Je me posais la question, je me disais, vous qui apprenez, qui donnez cette force ou cette leçon à vos enfants, est-ce que vous leur apprendriez la désobéissance civile, s'il le fallait?
Well, I think it's up to our children to decide who they want to be in the world. And our job as parents is to teach them that they can be anything they want to be, but that they have a responsibility to give back. And so they get to travel with us, not just on really nice vacations, but they've actually been out in the developing world. Our oldest daughter, who when she was 15, she and I spent time with in a Maasai village, living there. Our middle son, we spent time in Malawi with a family, and our youngest daughter was in Rwanda 3 weeks last summer and 2 weeks this summer. I had to go visit her. And so whatever they feel their passion is in the way they can give back, whether it's civil disobedience, whether it's social justice, whether it's working on the ground or working for a multinational, or whatever it is they want to do, that will be up to them to pursue that passion.
Mais Bill, vous auriez pu avoir un enfant égoïste.
Well, everyone hopes their children, have something that they can give to the world. So far, it looks like they're going to be wonderful children, but we're very biased in that evaluation.
Je vois ça. Vous avez changé notre vie à tous, et pas que nous, hein, celle d'un paquet de gens sur cette planète avec votre invention. Qui a changé la vôtre?
Well, certainly, the part of the fun of the foundation is bringing in people who've really worked in the field and seeing what works, what doesn't work. And it's so much more of a sacrifice, to go out and live for 10 years in the developing countries and help out there. We haven't given up anything because, we have so much. And the work actually is so interesting. It's not in any sense a sacrifice. But the breadth of people, whether it's scientists with new ideas, to the field workers, to the campaigners, people like Luke with brilliant campaigning ideas, we've learned an immense amount and been inspired by them.
On assiste à la montée. Vous parlez des gens qui sont sur le terrain, et je me dis, vous qui fréquentez quand même tous les décideurs de ce monde, vous étiez avec le président de la République tout à l'heure, vous visiterez certainement d'autres présidents, vous êtes à la hauteur des chefs d'État, et vous me citez les gens qui sont sur le terrain, ce qui m'inquiète un peu pour la politique, parce que je me dis que ça ne sert à rien du coup.
Well, politics and democracy is how people organize and make decisions. Do they want, to have their aid budget go up? Are they willing to take 2% of the government revenues and use it to create stability and health in these other countries? And it should be political. It's a choice that people get to make. The only unique thing we have is that because we get to go out and see the work, we get to meet the people who are alive because of HIV medicine or malaria bed nets, we at least can come back and witness the effectiveness and overcome some of the cynicism of, does this money really get out there? And because we're known for being very tough-minded, very numeric, when we come back and say, yes, this is working so well that we're putting all of our money into it, it lends some credibility and hopefully encourages that democratic process to be slightly more generous.
And I mean, it is why not only people like us advocating, but the citizenry showing up and saying on Sunday, 500,000 people saying, this is important to us. We care about people outside of our borders. We care about a peaceful and prosperous world. That speaks volumes to a government. And actually, today when we were with Hollande, he said he absolutely saw that.
Alors ça, on sait qu'on est solidaires ensemble. D'ailleurs, on est ensemble et on est là ce soir. on croit en notre force, mais c'est vrai qu'on est dans un pays, bon, ça ne vous a pas échappé, la présidentielle, c'est dans quelques heures, on est dans un pays qui doute, et comme d'autres pays. Qu'est-ce que vous attendez de votre président, qu'il soit Trump ou un autre? Qu'est-ce que vous attendez des politiques, vous, Linda?
We expect that they keep up the foreign aid budget. And in fact, Bill and I have spent a fair bit of time in Washington, D.C. with this new administration in power. We work very carefully, both with Democrats and Republicans, both sides of the aisle. But we are there to say aid is absolutely and fundamentally important. It is what allows people to have HIV/AIDS medicines. It's what allows malaria bed nets. It's what allows vaccines to move forward. So we are making that case very strongly all over the world, but particularly right now in Washington, D.C.
Je n'en doute pas, mais il va quand même couper, le président américain, de 30% le budget d'aide. Vous êtes allé le voir d'ailleurs, Bill, pour ça.
That's right. The U.S. process, the president proposes a budget, but the actual decision is made by the Congress. And so I'm quite optimistic that we won't see a meaningful cut in aid, partly because so many of those people in the Congress have gotten to go to Africa. Actually, Melinda's been on several trips with senators and Congress people, and so their voice counts on this issue, and they don't want to cut the HIV money or the reproductive health money. And so it's the investment that's been made over years of witnessing these activities that make even a group that comes in kind of a naive way, their first instinct is, hey, do we really need to do this? Now it looks like we'll avoid any cut.
Ah bon?
That's good, yes.
Let's wait for that. Okay. Vous savez que la France est un pays qui a un modèle social très fort, trop fort pour certains, qui souhaitent que peut-être ça ne dure pas. Quel est votre avis?
Well, every country has to make a balance of how much the government spends. And, you know, the U.S. is on the lower side, France is on the higher side. There's always some tuning involved in that. The balance of being generous enough so everybody does well, but still having the incentive that companies, entrepreneurs can feel the freedom, can feel the incentive. That's an ongoing dynamic thing. And, you know, it's exactly what politics needs to debate. You know, people like Thomas Piketty have got us, you know, talking about the various tax systems and how those could be changed. So, you know, France and the U.S. are, you know, in the range of reasonableness. You know, hopefully there won't be a drastic change.
Well, and the other thing I think France has done really well has been incredibly innovative about its financing. The financial transaction tax, that has hugely benefited the Global Fund. And for us as advocates of this work, we can go hold that up for other countries. And they say, well, what should we be trying as innovative finance? Same thing around the fund for vaccines and immunizations. So France has actually led the way on some of the ways to do this. And believe me, other countries are paying attention, and that makes a difference.
Alors, tout le monde n'a évidemment pas les mêmes moyens que vous, évidemment. Quand on n'est pas milliardaire, qu'est-ce qu'on peut faire? Comment est-ce qu'on peut... Est-ce que les citoyens que nous sommes doivent suppléer les manquements de l'État?
Well, the first is your voice in terms of keeping the state to be generous. You know, that's number one. Number two is volunteering for these organizations. People's times and skills makes a huge difference. If you can get out to the developing countries and be a witness that comes back and personally testifies about this, that is an absolutely fantastic thing. And you know, even small amounts of money, a $5 bed net helps to save a child's life. So all of us, if we're engaged in this, I think it uplifts us, and that's what this word solidarity is all about.
Melinda, je vais vous demander d'adresser un mot à ceux qui sont là, parce qu'après je vais vous demander de signer évidemment l'appel du Printemps Solidaire. Ceux qui sont là, qu'est-ce que vous avez envie de leur dire?
I want to say that your voices make a huge difference, and they make a difference not just in this setting and not just in France, but across Europe. You saying, we are for everyone. The idea of Europe was to come together to create stable, prosperous societies. That was the whole idea when Europe was formed. You all are living that out by saying to the rest of Europe, we are living that with solidarity because we care about everybody, even outside the borders of Europe. And that makes a huge difference. And believe me, other people are paying attention.
Vous avez pris des contacts avec le futur président ou présidente de la France, Bill Gates?
I don't know. Ask me on Monday.
I will. I will. Okay. You will sign now the appel, bien sûr. Et vous pouvez aussi le faire, printemps-solidaire.fr. On va demander à 2 bénévoles de Printemps Solidaire de venir. Vous allez signer et on va faire la photo. Merci infiniment d'avoir été avec nous ce soir. C'est très important pour tous ceux qui sont ici, de vous avoir eu. Voilà.